Welcome everyone to the One More Cup of Coffee FC Live bit, and something new we're doing, which is going to be available on YouTube soon after tonight's coverage. I say coverage loosely because tonight has been, as I said at half-time, like broadcasting from the Buxton's Pools Cavern. It's been absolutely atrocious. But we got there in the end just, although you did miss the final whistle, unfortunately. But it's finished 1-1 here at Bowerfold. Down to 10 men. I'll be absolutely over the moon to be joined by somebody else who can talk to me. Thank you. Right, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, say no more. There we go. And this guy over here is... guy called Swampy.
Can't be smoking on TV.
Why?
Oh, go on then.
Right.
The lighting's very poor.
So, what did we... oh, for goodness sake. This kind of... How's that?
Can the listeners see us now a bit better? Is that better? Hello, listeners.
And viewers, of course.
And viewers, of course. I'm sorry about this. And Ben's decided that we have to show our faces now.
It's quite apparent that...
It is, Ben.
You know,
it's the Wi-Fi. This isn't going to work.
No,
go on.
The Wi-Fi signal here is atrocious, so our apologies, but we've made it anyway. So tonight's game has finished 1-1. The big talking point in that second half was the sending off.
It wasn't a talking point,
no,
really. It was a straight red. There's no question about it.
It's a talking point, as in I could talk about it.
Well,
it's a point to talk about.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
How did it happen, Swampy?
Well, the ball that was played in was it was a worldie. In all fairness, it was an absolutely tremendous ball. And we don't even know who the player it was, to be honest. It split the defence hugely, and Pearson didn't have really much option. He's got behind the players in front of him. He's coming down on goal, and the instinct of a player is always to bring a player down. Sometimes I wonder if players instinctively can get that out of the system and let the goalkeeper try and save it. I mean, it's very hard for that to happen, but. They worked hard tonight, Buxton, and they'll be thinking that they deserve to get a point out of the game, because FC United, for all their endeavour, really in the final third were. There's a police officer just turned up. He's right next to me. Evening.
Yeah.
It was just disappointing, really, because the final third we lacked. In the first 45 minutes, our passing in large parts of the games, James, was woeful, wasn't it? It really was. He looked anxious on the ball.
Well, there's a lack of cohesion, basically. I mean, it's as simple as that. I think that there was some the things that I thought were positive. I thought Jerome Wright did look very sharp. I mean, when he had the ball in the net in the first half, he was given offside, but it was very close.
Well, we said in commentary it was a Rizzler paper.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that it's great to see Callum Byrne. You know, he's obviously had a good pre-season. You know, he fits and starts. There was nobody consistently good, but you can see the quality in Linfield, who delivered an excellent cross, which Wolfenden should have scored from before the goal that he actually put away a few moments later. I just think there's probably have we got enough pace in those centre backs at the moment? Do they? I mean, James Knowles he's an experienced player, quite diminutive for a centre back.
Yeah,
really, but interesting to see Andy Pearson back.
It is. I mean, one of the things, it's nice that someone's banging away as much as possible to ruin this broadcast.
Oh, it's already been ruined. It got ruined about 4 minutes into the programme.
I think we obviously, from last season, we had two very, very pacey centre halves, and that allowed us to play the 3 at the back and then the 5 and the 2. But we didn't do that until a little bit into the season. It wasn't a question of that's how we started the season. So we're setting our stall out slightly differently. I mean, Connor Bauer got injured, didn't he, on Sunday?
Yes.
And he looked, he's a similar kind of player to the two lads that we lost. Leggy, good on the ball. I think what we're just lacking a little bit of cohesion at the moment. The pace really is lacking around the pitch. But you talked about Linfield, and for me, we saw him on Sunday. He had plenty of the ball. The weather was not conducive, really, let's say, given the benefit of the doubt for crossing. Tonight it was, and I'd like to see him down that wing more and more and more, and whipping balls in. But they seem to have a role where there was no out-and-out centre forward tonight, so the likes of Daniels and the likes of Linfield were all over the place, and it doesn't allow then your midfield to find your men necessarily to get the balls out wide, because those two players could be anywhere, really. And for me, we saw the quality of the crossing that came in, resulted in two easy saves really for the goalkeeper, and there should have been 2 goals out of them. But that just shows you the quality of crossing goes in. You can meet the ball 9 times out of 10 it's in the back of the net. Tonight it wasn't quite to be. I think Carl will be happy with quite a lot of the game, but I think there'll be quite a lot he'll be very dissatisfied with. And
well, I think that the central question, is it not, for FC United, and we've discussed this often, is that there's this pattern at the second half of the season, this wonderful run that the team goes on, and the same thing cannot be allowed to happen this season. You've got now, to be fair to FC, Liam Brownhill out, key player of the season last season. You've got Greaves was kind of, I suppose, rested really for the first half tonight, and Norton still not there. So it is. A kind of a knotting it together.
Yeah, it's period. Not the full. It's not the start 11 they'd like to start with. However, that's what a squad's there for, and the players that have been brought in. And
it's a good squad. That does show. You'd probably have Stott as your first choice as your holding midfield player. He's able to push out to right back to allow Dave Birch, a player of real experience and quality. So excellent stuff.
And at this point, this is the PA team walking out.
They're not walking out.
You said the PA. Oh, the PA. Oh, sorry.
The PA team.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Thank you.
Back to your points.
Well, I think that it's what we're saying is that the squad's there to cover for those key injuries, and but we've got 2 local games: a home game against Belper, who've come up to the division, away game at Trafford, and FC fans will want to see 6 points.
Were we hoping? Well, I'm not going to say we're hoping for a better start, but the Barwell game was windy and they decided to park the bus. This one we went down to 10 men. Are we just?
Listen, I don't think you're about to say
victims of circumstance.
No, I don't think we are victims of circumstance, because at the end of the day, when we go 1-0 up, I think what we have to go is for the jugular. We have to go out there and we have to get that second goal. I think what Carl was asking this evening asking the players was, go out there with a bit more pace than we created in the game against Barwell. Let's get that ball moving a lot quicker. Now they did do that, but they lacked the actual quality of pass, and that was a little bit disconcerting really, because we know that the players can pass the ball and with pace and with a bit of quality. And tonight it never really happened. The occasions it did, we created chances, but let's not forget we played against a team that we've never beaten at home, a team that's always come and give FC United a game. But I thought tonight, after going 1-0 up, we rode a few sort of like tricky moments in the opening 45 minutes, and it was our own undoing. But you know what Buxton are like against FC United. They'll keep coming when the likes of James Reid can come on, and he'll win most things in the air. It was a surprise to see Tutton come off, because I thought he was causing FC a lot of problems in the opening period and in the second half before he came off, and I thought those two combining, Tutton and Reid, would have given us more problems than but it wasn't to be. They replaced each other. You've got to really, as you say, we've got to start we've got to hit the ground running. We should be now, in reality, we should be 6 points out of 2 games, and we've got 2 games to come. We don't want the slow start. This division at this moment in time is a division that FC United, on paper, really should be the favourites to win. And with that, carries an extra burden. But equally, other teams now, they'll be fancying themselves week in, week out. And we've got to make sure that we're far enough away from teams by December, January, February, to not have to worry about playoffs, because we can't put ourselves through that. And the players and the management don't want that. So they'll be looking at themselves now. It's Tuesday today. They'll be training. They'll have a rest day tomorrow. Train on Thursday. They've got the game at home here again on Saturday against Belper, and then Monday we've got Trafford. And again, Trafford have been massively up for it. We saw the game. They had a great game there last season. A tremendous finish to that game. But we've got a lot of work to do, and there's some players out there that Lee Neville came back in tonight. He had moments where
I think he's solid enough.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm saying he had moments tonight. You could see he hadn't played a huge amount of football, but he came to the rescue on a couple of occasions. But then again, like a lot of the players, he gave the ball away in instances, but he was there to help with the goal.
What was I think was of concern was the first 10 or 15 minutes. FC were so profligate with the ball. I mean, obviously David Carnell had where he dropped a cross, and the FC were fortunate that Hardy didn't convert there. But there were 3 other occasions when the ball was given away in FC's own half, and against a sharper team on a different night, FC could have been a couple of goals down early on. And just it's details sometimes. Right at the very end of the game, FC United had a free kick, and they're not switched on. A player runs up behind them and basically tackles the players taking the free kick. I mean, that I wouldn't insult the thousands of junior footballers by saying it's a schoolboy error. That sort of thing really has to be ironed out, because you never know, a ball could have gone in, we could have nicked one, but obviously you're not going to if you're not paying attention to what's around you. So these basic things, I think, have to be attended to as well.
I think you're right. We're going to make sure that when we have set piece situations, certainly towards right at the end of the game, you're against the 10, and you've got to put the ball in. You've got to make them work. And we introduced. We went to a back 4, moved Birch into that back 4. Stock came to centre half, and brought Aston Mulholland on. 7 minutes is it's a very tough ask to do anything in 7 minutes, and he came on and he put a cross in, and he put a cross in very similar to a Sunday's kind of crossing. But you can't criticise. He's come out there with trying to do something in the game, but it's very, very difficult. I mean, we're against the 10 men, and in a way that was quite positive from Carl, because he's saying we still want to go. We want to go and win this game, so we're bringing on an attacking player, and in that respect, all credit to him. It's just unfortunate that we're not quite there yet. I mean, as I say though, if we were any other team, there might be other teams might go, well, okay, we've not lost a game yet. We've drawn 1, we've drawn 2 now, but it's FC United, and I'm not trying to be, big-headed in that respect. I'm just saying it's FC United, and this season, more than any other season, really, because there are some good Marine are going to be a hard team to beat this season. Ilkeston, Matlock, Buxton, as I've seen tonight. If Buxton play like that week in, week out, they'll be getting results. Skelmersdale, there's some good quality there. The league is still very good. But
there's no apparent contender to be a dominant team.
No.
And there's no team, as far as we know, with a lot of cash to splash in the way. Maybe Chorley had a bit more money in the past. Bradford, Park Avenue at times.
They did, yeah.
Obviously, Chester.
But think about this team. This is the same team that finished second.
But it didn't just finish second, but was the dominant team.
And the teams around them have either left the league upwards or left the league completely outwards in work style.
We've kept most of our players.
So you'd hope we could kick on.
I think Brownhill's. I mean, let's be honest and fair. Any club that loses 2 centre halves in a season to league football is going to find it very, very difficult to replace top quality, and it has been hard to do so. We've looked at a lot of other players, and what we've got there's some good quality players there. They're used to each other now, so we've got to be gelling. I think Connor Bauer would have been a start tonight. Knowles hasn't done particularly poorly. He's a good, as I say, an unassuming centre half. Just does his job and gets on with it. Pearson, similar. And then you got to look at the midfield, and that's where, for me, we've always said, and we've got a player similar to that at the moment now with Callum Byrne. Callum Byrne on Sunday was given a lot of time on the ball, and he was superb. But what he also did on Sunday, he tracked back and he was getting into people, and he was winning the balls. Tonight he's been in and out of the game. He put a sublime pass in a couple of occasions. You see that great quality in him. But you need, and Birch, Birch tonight I think has had a good game, Birch, because he's shored up that midfield. But you need a real playmaker in there that does it every single week. And every team that have left this division have had someone that does it, and that's what you really, really need.
So I think, in terms of summing up, we want to see that team that was dominant in the second half of the season. Much of the same personnel are still here, apart from those 2 boys who've gone on to Football League football. We want to see. I want to see that's a 12-15 game unbeaten run at this end of the.
At the moment we haven't beaten.
Well, it could be 15
with some
draws.
3 points. Yeah, that 15 points is not what I.
No, 15 games.
Incidentally, it's nice to see Charlie Raglan was on the bench for Chesterfield the other day in League One. I mean, that's.
He's there's a fair few players that have been to FC United that are playing the trade in league football. Now we've got one up at in Scotland for Inverness Caledonian, and we've got Chesterfield and Fleetwood and also obviously Ollie Banks, who's scored I think goal of the season last week for Chesterfield, a tremendous goal. you know, and it's nice that the put the red shirt on for FC United and Manchester. But what we need to do this season, we've got to concentrate. So I thought the highlight, the two games for me, the best player for the last 2 games has been Greg Daniels. You see that Daniels' quality. He's an elusive player because you're not sure where he's ever going to turn up.
He is. He's got great quality, but it's the end product of that. You know, it's just I was slightly reminded of sometimes of Carlos Roca, where that brilliant run, beat 3 players, get into a dangerous position, weak shot at the keepers, spoons over it. It's just that developing that end product.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right.
And it's early, in early season, I'm sure players are part-time footballers are finding their way, but it's the same for everybody in the division. So
it certainly is. I mean, we can rectify that with a good performance on Saturday. I still think the likes of young Greg. I think he has a season like he did last season, so the second half of the season, and carries on.
We were discussing if he didn't get injured at the time, he was pushing for the FCUM Radio Award.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, the boy has got. I mean, he's a young lad. He's got tremendous. He's got two tricky feet. He gets beyond players, and he does score goals as well.
We should say
Norton's a big miss tonight, though, because Norton would have put that defence under a lot of pressure. The likes that Greaves has not really had a sniff because when he came on, because there's no delivery to him, he's having to go chase balls. You don't want that when you're a centre forward and out and that. You need the ball to be coming to you.
Just to interrupt you, radio listeners, you're about to go to Gunnar Ray's house, so bye bye.
Oh, goodbye, radio listeners.
Bye,
as
radio
always,
listeners.
see you all Saturday.
Thanks very much for listening. See you Saturday.
Crack on.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I mean, Nort's injured, and I think when Nort's is back to full fitness, I'd have the likes of Norts and Greaves playing off each other. I'd have the likes of Daniels or Wolfenden in that hole behind them. You can play 3 at the back if we get used to that again, and put the 3-5-2, or 3-4-1-2, so to speak, so he can move all around. Linfield undoubtedly has got talent. Let's see a bit more of that. Let's see some good quality crossing in there. Jerome Wright getting beyond down the touchline with the overlaps of Neville, which was always a good combination. Neville's just coming back. He's not played a huge amount of football, but that will come. So again, even though we've been 2 games in, a little bit disappointed with the fact that we haven't gone on and won the game tonight once we're in a commanding position, and we should have done. There's quite a lot of positives to take, and if we can get 6 points in the next 2 games, it's not a bad start. We haven't been defeated yet. There's a lot of positives out of the game, and equally we can work on what they weren't happy with tonight, and we can move forward.
So to sum up, let's.
And on that note,
your head's just completely filled.
Well, it's a big head to begin with,
and
I'm close. How about if I do this? So
that's scary.
Is that scary? Do you want me here?
You look like
just hear them.
Yeah, well, your whole head's still there.
There you go.
Look like the MIBs.
That is the end of this YouTube. I think we're going to call it One More Cup of Coffee.
Why?
Because it's late, isn't it? I'm only doing this on Tuesdays.
The distinctive feature of this radio station is they have the discussions that normally happen
on-air production meetings.
They actually have production meetings.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So this is One More Cup of Coffee FC Live on
we'll be changing that, I think.
YouTube. Do you reckon?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. One more cup of coffee. Cocoa.
One more cup of cocoa.
The last cocoa.
The last cocoa.
I should cocoa.
I should last cocoa.
Cocoa.
I think it's all work in progress.
Yes. But anyway,
he's the professional, you see, ladies and gentlemen. He normally actually writes this all down and then has to be prepared. You still are.
So we hope you've enjoyed this little special. If it works, then we'll carry on. If it doesn't, then
we'll all shave our beards and moustaches off.
We'll still carry on.
Yeah, we're going to carry on again.
Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Good night.